Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to be roasting my old embarrassing skincare routine. I actually filmed this and put it on YouTube less than a year ago, and I have since taken it down because I am so ashamed. So naturally I thought I'd put it back up here for all of you guys to see. But I'm just going to be going through it, reacting to it, and also showing you guys what I use instead. And stay tuned until the end of the video because I will be giving you some tips that have really helped my skin over the last few months. And of course I will show you before and after what my skin looks like so you can see for yourself the difference. Obviously I'm not a dermatologist, so take any advice I give you with a pinch of salt. It may not work for you, but these are just some generic tips that I have found really helped my skin, and I definitely think they would be worth trying if you're kind of stuck and you don't quite know what to do next. And also, just before we get started, if you're new here, my skin is dry and dehydrated, and I also suffer from breakouts. And I don't often hear a lot of people online talking about people with dry and dehydrated skin that also have acne. It's been very difficult to find some advice on that, so hopefully this will help you out if you are also suffering with this very annoying skin type. Anyway, I've talked enough, let's just get straight into the video. So quickly before we get into this, I just want to show you some pictures of what my skin used to look like. So I'll just pop them up kind of here. But this is what my skin was looking like around about a year ago. As you can see, I had a lot of spots. They were pretty much covering my whole face. And I'll try and find the picture, but there was one taken on my birthday last year where my skin, you can see how dehydrated it is. It's just like cracked and horrible. So I'll try and get that up on the screen and hopefully you can see that. So I got into skincare and I think my skincare made it worse, if I'm honest, but we'll get into that in a minute. But in contrast to this is a close-up of my skin taken just before I put my makeup on today. So my skincare had been on my face for a couple of hours at this point and I had nothing else on my face. This is just how my skin looks. As you can see, it's by no means perfect. I still have texture. I still have some dark spots, and I'm sure I have a active breakout or two somewhere, but it's nowhere near as bad as it was before. Let's just watch this skincare routine. So it's called Skincare Routine for Dehydrated Acne Prone Skin. I have since made this private. You will not be able to find this on my channel because I just don't agree with what I said anymore. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I just finished filming this makeup look. Just to say, the makeup that was on my face was because I was filming a challenge. It was that how I did my makeup in school challenge, which is why it looks that bad. I promise I didn't used to do my makeup like this every day. Okay, I'm just gonna skip. I do think this routine is working. And just for a bit of background, I've always been told I had dry skin, so whenever I did those little test things in Kiehl's, they always came back as kind of dry. Eventually I found out that I have dehydrated skin. Okay, so this is something that really kind of influenced what I was doing for my skin. I have dry and dehydrated skin. I don't have particularly overly dry skin, like it's not crazy dry, I don't get a lot of flakiness, but it is quite dehydrated, and I think that's just due to things like central heating, hard water, and I was using a lot of hot water as well in my routine back then, which made it worse. So back then, because my skin was so dehydrated, it would sort of compensate and I would get oilier around my chin and my nose, which I still do a little bit, but not half as much. And so in my head, I was thinking, okay, well, even though I have dry, dehydrated skin, I need to work on the oiliness, which, yeah, skin. I think I might have either combination or balanced skin underneath the dehydration. So at the moment, as my skin was breaking out a lot, I didn't know what was causing it. I like to use a lot of different products. So I had to try and strip everything back and figure it out. And I got some new products at the same time. So it was a bit of like a Hail Mary that these would work whilst I was stripping everything else back. They didn't work. This is why I had to make it private. I'm such a liar. Like, how did I just lied to everyone. In fairness, I did think at the time my skin was it looked as though it was getting better, but it was just kind of going through waves of slightly less spotty and then loads and loads of spots. So this was in one of those slightly less spotty times. But I do agree with my approach to scale everything back. I do think that's a good idea if you're using a lot of products. So the first one is the Kiehl's Calendula Deep Cleansing Foaming Facial Wash. I have never gone through a face wash so quickly in my life. I absolutely love this stuff. It says it's for normal to oily skin types. I've found it doesn't dry out my skin or anything like that. Yes, it does. It does. It really, really does. It completely dried out my skin. Oh God. So if you watched my pamper routine video, I did it I think just before Christmas. I was still using this cleanser because I wanted to just use it up and get rid of it. But I had such a big bottle. I had about half of it left to go. And I just got to a point where I was like, I can't use this anymore. It is just, every time I wash my face, afterwards my skin felt so tight and dehydrated. So I gave it to my friend. She has oily skin and hopefully that's been working better for her. But this just did not suit my skin at all. Like that, but essentially just like it foams up, it smells great. I'll get onto fragrance later. I honestly, I can't tell you what it is specifically that is helping my skin, but I've been using this twice a day, every day. And before I was using the Midnight Recovery Botanical Cleansing Oil from Kiehl's, which I loved because it smelled nice, but I think this is more of an oil to melt your makeup off. So again, that was full of fragrance. It has a very strong lavender scent, which is nice before you go to bed, but just not for my skin. And I don't think it was helping because it essentially is just to melt your makeup off your skin. And then I wasn't doing a double cleanse, I wasn't following up with another cleanser, so that obviously didn't help. So I switched to this and my skin honestly calmed down so much. And recently I also got this little scrubby thing from the Body Shop. So you just kind of put it in your fingers like that and you can put 1 or 2 pumps onto a wet sponge. And basically what this does is it just lightly exfoliates your face. So I've been using that. Lightly. It feels like, has anyone ever used a hard, like a proper sponge that's just literally like a rock? It feels like rubbing one of those in your face. Okay, not quite as hard, but that was not a light exfoliation. Ugh. And leaves my skin feeling really soft. But because I am breaking out, I'm being very careful not to over exfoliate. So after cleansing, so I do think when I exfoliated, I also, okay, cardinal sin here. I was using St. Ives scrubs. I think I would use them, I didn't use them every day, I used them once, maybe a couple of times a week, which is still too much, especially if you have dry skin. But I think I was avoiding areas that I had an active breakout, so you know, it wasn't as bad as it could be, but I still just, my life has been changed since I found James Welsh and Hyram. And I do not use physical exfoliators. I can't remember who it was. Someone, I don't think it was Hyram, I think it was someone else I was watching, but they were saying how if you have dry skin, you just absolutely should never use a physical exfoliator. So yeah. I go straight in with a toner. Now, to begin with, I wasn't sure about this toner because it's so strong smelling. That toner was like putting vodka on your face. It was, all you could smell was alcohol, and it was so strong. It like stung my eyes. I remember I was sold that specific toner by someone who worked in Clinique, and she sat me down and she was like going over like this whole skincare routine for me, and that was one of the things she sold me. It's a Clinique clarifying lotion, twice a day exfoliator. It smells like vodka, it's so strong. But when I was stripping my routine back, I thought I should keep a cleanser, and especially one that was good for removing excess dirt and oil. Because another thing I have since learned, you should not be using a toner to remove any extra dirt from your face or any extra makeup. Toners are supposed to be more of like a hydrating stage. This is just alcohol basically. It's like paint stripper. It really dried out my skin. So I was going in with the Kiehl's cleanser, which was drying out my skin. It was a strongly scented foaming face wash that was meant for oily skin. And then I was going in with sometimes using that little scrubby thing, so I was exfoliating my face. I was then going in with the stripping and exfoliating toner. So at this point, it's no wonder my skin had like no hydration in it. It was just being sucked out. Also, the quality in this video is so bad. I'm so sorry. I have noticed that after I use it, if I wake up in the morning and my face looks pretty good, it looks pretty calm, then the areas where I do have spots will get red again. That's not a good sign. It does calm down later, it's just like an initial reaction, but I do notice that it can make my skin a bit sensitive in those areas, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to someone with really sensitive skin. Which I'm pretty sure I have. I'm pretty sure if you have dry, acne-prone skin, your skin is sensitive. But it has been doing a good job. I have heard a lot about the Body Shop tea tree oil toner, and apparently that's really good for acne as well, so I was thinking I might switch to that. The other thing I forgot, I did try that out and I was using that one for a while. It's not as stripping as the Clinique one was, however, it was still stripping, it was tea tree, it was scented, it was not designed for my skin. And then I switched to the vitamin E one, but I cut out fragrance out of my skincare routine entirely, so I stopped using that one as well. I wouldn't recommend the tea tree one either. The thing I forgot to mention was my makeup remover, and that's because, especially since being in lockdown, I'm not wearing makeup, so my routine is cleanser, toner, and so on. But obviously before cleansing, I need to get my makeup off. And what I used to do was just use a face halo. For years I was using face wipes, but these are so much more environmentally friendly. Plus, they just feel a lot nicer on my skin. It's one of those where you just wet them and your makeup comes off. It's actually really good. But I have recently been using, this is a little tester, but it's the Clinique, I'm not sure what it is. I'll list it down below when I find it. But it's like a sort of, it's a strange texture. It's kind of like a gel oil balm type thing. It's a balm. It was the Clinique, it's just a makeup removing balm. I actually still use that one, so I'm not too mad at that. The face halos, I still have face halos, and I have a little microfiber face cloth as well. I use those to get stubborn mascara off of my eyes, and I also use them to remove makeup from my ears, my hairline, and from my neck after I've cleansed them, just because otherwise I will get my hair wet, I'll get my ears wet, I'll get water everywhere. Like it's just very messy, so it's just a good way to make sure I get it all out. So they're good for that, but I don't tend to use them on my actual face anymore because they are sort of an exfoliating step. You are rubbing something over your face. So I like to be a lot more gentle with my skin these days. But yeah, they are good. They do get makeup off. And if it came down to using a makeup wipe or using one of those, I would use one of those. And essentially that just melts your makeup off. So I've been putting that all over my face and then using a wet one of these to wipe it off. And if you're like me a few years ago, where you're one of those people who doesn't like sort of splashing their face with water because it gets everywhere, this was a good way to remove makeup without using a makeup wipe. So I would just melt my makeup off with the balm, and then I would go over the top with a face halo. But yeah, it's better than using a makeup wipe. But there's another Body Shop thing that I've heard of, which is the chamomile cleansing balm. And I think it's the same thing as that Clinique cleanser. It sounds very similar. So I think when I run out of, I've got 2 tiny testers of that. When I run out of those, I'm gonna get the Body Shop one. And I did get it. It's very similar, but it was, again, it had fragrance in it. I had to cut out pretty much all of my Body Shop products because they have fragrance. But yeah, it was fine. If your skin's okay with fragrance, then go for that one. It's a lot cheaper than the Clinique one, but I'm sure you can find cheaper balms or oils that don't have fragrance in as well, because I just stay away. And following toner, I go in with, I swear to God, this thing has saved my life. It's the Witch Naturally Clear Blemish Stick. I'm pretty sure if you could create an entire routine that would have Hyram cringing and crying on the floor, it would be this one. So this was like a witch hazel tea tree stick thing, and yeah, I just felt like it cleared up my spots. It might have done. It didn't keep them away. Yeah, I don't use spot treatments anymore. But yeah, I'll summarize everything I did wrong at the end of this video and then explain what I'm using now, so it kind of makes more sense, but I just kind of wanted to go through and see this to begin with. And it's just a little sort of, it's just a stick. And it kind of smells a bit like the toner does. It smells very strong. They both have alcohol. I was drying my skin out even more. Also, actually, just going back to the previous point, I do find that the Clinique Balm does leave my skin just feeling a little bit dry and tight after I use it. But so far it's the best one I've found, so I've just been using it just to take my makeup off. But yeah, so basically drying out my skin with that, drying out my skin with, I was just drying my skin out with everything. I don't want to talk about this because I love it, but I hate the price. So this is the Dermalogica Biolumin C Eye Serum. I have not rebought that since. I really did feel like it made a difference to my... I know you can't really tell because I have a lot of lights on me all the time, but I have very bad under eye bags and under eye circles. And I did feel like I saw a difference with this, but I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced it actually really did much. I took a picture of myself after like 3.5 months using it, and I look back on that picture sometimes and I just don't think my eyes look different now than they did then. According to this, it's £63. Was it actually £63? Oh my god. For an under eye serum, like yeah. I don't know about this. I feel like you could probably find something very similar for a much cheaper price point. Wouldn't buy it again. Stopped using serums, oils, acids, anything like that, because I have found that when I've been using them, they seem to be breaking me out more, and I don't know if that's my skin not being used to them. I don't know what acid I was using, because I don't think I had the hyaluronic acid at that point. I'm not sure, to be honest. I know I was using the Ole Henriksen Truth Serum, the vitamin C one. So yeah, I don't actually know what I was talking about there, but I assume it was the Truth Serum, but I did start using that again. So at the moment, I'm going through a phase of just keeping my routine very, very stripped back, very bare. And then once my skin is finally settled, finally clear, I can start introducing those products again and hopefully find a good all-round routine. But the moisturiser I've been using is this one. It's the Ole Henriksen Sea Rush Brightening Double Cream. I loved that moisturiser. I loved the texture of it. I loved how it felt on my skin. I loved everything. But again, it was full of fragrance. I was previously using the Ole Henriksen Sheer Transformation Moisturiser, which I absolutely loved. And that one is actually fragrance free. So I might try that one out again in the future, but I wouldn't try the Sea Rush Double Cream again, which is a shame because I did really like it, but I do think my skin is sensitive to fragrance, so. Demonstrate my skincare routine. Wow, the old school and transitions. That was when I was using, what was I using? I think I was using Premiere Rush. Also, you should have seen the setup I had. I had like my phone on a tripod on the toilet to try and get this. This was so awkward to film. Okay, so now that I've traumatized myself with that, let me just quickly sum up what my thinking was and what I've changed. So essentially I was thinking I have dehydrated skin, I get oily on my chin and my nose, which in my head I was like, okay, that must be what's causing my spots. So I thought I need to counteract all the oils, and I thought I need to use products that are suited towards acne prone skin. In terms of product selection, I went for Ole Henriksen and I went for Kiehl's because those were two big well-known brands, and in my head I thought a big well-known brand is going to be the best for my skin. It wasn't so much research based or review based, it was based on just my opinion of what the brand sort of appeared like, and yeah, it was probably a terrible idea. So all I ended up doing was just completely stripping my skin of hydration, and considering I already have dry skin and I have dehydrated skin, all that did was further propel all of my issues. It just created this terrible cycle and my skin suffered. So moving on to my current skincare routine. Like I said, I still use the Clinique balm. It's the Take the Day Off balm. As you can see, I've used up quite a lot. I've got another one. Do you mind? I've got another one ready to go for when this has run out, but I just use this when I want to take my makeup off. This is just essentially my makeup removing step. And like I've mentioned before, I cut out fragrance completely out of my skincare routine. I actually saw Jessie Smiles do this kind of video, and she was actually the inspiration for this video, by the way. But one of the things she mentioned was trying, if you're getting breakouts, to try cutting fragrance out of your skin, to try cutting fragrance out of your routine. But I hadn't heard that before, and I didn't realize how much fragrance I was actually using on my skin. So I thought, let me give it a go and see how that works for me. And I have to say, I do think fragrance was probably, at the very least, it wasn't helping my skin, if not helping to cause the breakouts. But I did make a lot of changes, so I can't definitively say that fragrance was causing my breakouts. And I do like Hyram's philosophy where he kind of goes, fragrance isn't the devil, but you can develop reactions to it, and it's just not necessary in a routine, so you might as well avoid it. And that is the philosophy I have since adopted. So with that in mind, moving on to cleanser. I had been using the CeraVe Hydrating, just the cream cleanser, for quite a while. I just had one bottle of it and I quite liked it, but I did want to try different cleansers just to see what I liked. I really want to try the Crave Beauty Matcha Hydrating Cleanser, but they don't ship to the UK and I don't want to pay 50 quid for a bottle of cleanser. I've been using for the last, I think I've only been using this for about a week, the Honest Beauty Calm On Foaming Cream Cleanser. This doesn't exactly foam up. It's not foamy like that Kiehl's one was, but it does foam up more than the CeraVe one did. And it is fragrance free, but it definitely has a scent to it. It's almost like hot chocolate with slightly sour milk, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I think this has been quite nice. It's pretty hydrating. I don't feel particularly stripped after using it. So I use this, or I use whatever cleanser I'm using, as my double cleanse when I'm not wearing any makeup. I just use the Clinique one, like I said, when I have makeup, and then when I don't, I use this twice. I try and wash my face for about 30 seconds each time. Although recently I've been trying to reduce that in the morning because my skin does feel a lot tighter in the morning. However, I do think this has helped a lot because compared to how my skin felt when I was using the Kiehl's cleanser, it's worlds apart. So that's what I'm currently using. And then I pretty much always go in with the ordinary hyaluronic acid. To be honest, I'm yet to venture out into more sort of complex serums, so serums that have more than one active ingredient. And the reason for that is that I'm still trying to get used to my skincare routine. I'm still trying to find out what works for my skin. So I'm mostly only using kind of like single active serums such as the hyaluronic acid or niacinamide, just because I know that I specifically want my skin to have the benefits of that one product, and I don't want to risk trying out a new product and not knowing if the ingredients don't work for my skin. I hope that made sense. But yeah, so I've been using hyaluronic acid because my new routine is focused on hydration. Essentially what I think was causing a lot of my breakouts is I just think my skin was just lacking so much hydration. And in my old skincare routine, my thought was oils are causing my breakouts, I need to counteract oils. But my new philosophy is I need to focus on the root problem, and the root problem for my skin is dehydration. And I need to also make sure I'm catering to my skin type, which is dry skin. And so because of that, hyaluronic acid is now a staple in my routine. I use this every morning and evening, except on the days I exfoliate, but I will get to that in a minute. Okay, my second step that I only use in the morning is niacinamide, and I've been using this to try and brighten my post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. However, I think I'm going to stop using this once it runs out, mainly because I'm trying to keep my routine very, very simple, and eventually I think I'm going to try and branch out and find a brightening serum, but I just don't feel like I need this in my routine that much. I would prefer to have niacinamide in another product like a moisturiser or something, but I don't think I specifically need a whole serum for it. However, I don't think it's causing any harm. But yeah, once I use this up, I don't think I'm going to repurchase it unless I start to notice any kind of changes that I think the niacinamide might have helped with. So before we move on to moisturizers, I'm going to talk about the other two treatments I use at nighttime. So the first one, I've only been using this for about 2 weeks, but I've been using it every other day, and it is the lactic acid 5% with hyaluronic acid. This is why I don't use hyaluronic acid when I exfoliate, because it's already included in this. So I don't think there's any need to use up my hyaluronic acid serum on top of this. I was trying out the Paula's Choice 2% BHA solution, and I also had the Exfoliate liquid exfoliator, but that one has fragrance in, and I wasn't really noticing a huge difference in my skin, except for that it did feel a little bit as though it might have been sensitizing my skin a small bit. And the more I looked into the Paula's Choice BHA, I realized it was definitely focused on oilier skin types. But then I came across lactic acid, which is essentially the best liquid exfoliator for dry skin. And to be honest, when I use this, the next morning my skin does feel really soft. I haven't seen any huge improvements in my skin, but like I said, I've only been using this for about 2 weeks and every other day. But this is what I'm using to exfoliate at the moment, and I will probably keep using something like this because I think all the other liquid exfoliators are probably just a bit too harsh for my skin type. Speaking of harsh, I've only used this twice in fairness, but I've been using the Versed Gentle Retinol Serum. This is supposed to be formulated so that you don't get the adverse reactions that you normally get to a retinol, and it's supposed to be really gentle. You're supposed to be able to use this every day. However, I am only using this once every 3 days, I think it is. So my nighttime routine at the moment is currently one day I'll do lactic acid, the next day I'll do nothing, the next day I'll do lactic acid again, and then the next day I'll do retinol. And the reason I'm doing it like that is because I don't want to be mixing actives, I don't want to be layering loads of things on my face at the same time, and I just want to make sure that my skin isn't too overloaded. I think I'll eventually get a better routine down, but at the moment that's just what I'm doing. Also, I got this yesterday, so I don't know how good it is yet, but I've heard a lot about this. It's the Cosrx Advanced Snail 96 Mucin Power Essence. I've heard James Welsh talk about this a lot, but this is supposed to be really good for the elasticity in your skin and for locking in hydration. And like I said, everything's about hydration these days. So currently using this every day and morning and night, and I will let you know how it goes. Next up is my morning moisturizer. So I've been using the Versed Dew Point Moisturizing Gel Cream with green tea extract and aloe leaf juice. And the reason I've been using this is just because I wanted something lightweight to use before using my sunscreen, especially as I'm going back to work in September. I don't want my base to be super greasy, but this is also supposed to be really soothing. And yeah, it's nice, it feels nice. It's definitely the type of thing that would be really good for people with oily skin, but it's definitely not moisturizing enough for my nighttime moisturizer. And for my nighttime moisturizer, I've been using the Inkey Peptide Moisturizer. It also says on the back, which I only found out today, use hyaluronic acid first to help draw in all of the peptide goodness. And it says it helps to reduce the signs of aging. So I'd heard a lot about peptides. I don't actually know what they do, but this is just a fairly thick, creamy moisturizer. And to be honest, I have been enjoying it. Before this, I was using the e.l.f. What was it? It was one of the e.l.f. hydrating moisturizers, and I hated it. It felt like it just sat on top of my skin and didn't melt in at all. But yeah, I've since switched to this and I'm enjoying it. I don't know if I'll stick with it, but it's definitely hydrating. It's definitely nice. The only thing is it has one of those weird sort of, I'm not gonna pump it, but it's like one of those weird pumps where you press down and it sort of comes out here. And I really don't like that because I don't like scraping it off the top. It feels very unhygienic. And if I go this way, it doesn't always fall into my hand. So it's not my favorite design, but I think it's just designed like that so it doesn't get any air or light inside. And finally, for sunscreen in the mornings, I've been using the Bondi Sands Daily Face Moisturizer SPF 50. This is broad spectrum, water resistant and fragrance free. Also has vitamin E, 72-hour hydration, and apparently it's reef friendly. I don't actually know what that means. But yeah, I've already gone through 1 bottle of this and I quite like it. It leaves your skin looking quite greasy. It's very, very hydrating, but it does the job, to be honest, and it's super cheap, which is another plus. It's something like £6 or £7, so yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I would say 1 bottle would last me about 3 weeks, so I think it's a good price. I would prefer a slightly bigger size, but it's good if you just want to chuck it in your handbag or anything like that, or if you're going traveling. It does have a white cast, so bear that in mind if you do have a deeper skin tone. Prior to this, I was using the Keep Cool Sun Essence, which I'm so upset about that whole scandal because that sun essence was my favorite thing ever. It just felt like such a nice moisturizer on the face. And obviously it was a chemical sunscreen, so it had no white cast. It was beautiful. Will I stick with it? I don't know, might switch it out, but that's my routine for the time being. So just to summarize some of my tips, if you're like me, you're suffering from dry skin, from dehydrated skin, and from acne prone skin, first thing would be try cutting out fragrance. Your skin may or may not be sensitive to fragrance, but it doesn't add any benefits that you would be missing out on. So try cutting it out and see if that helps, because if your skin is sensitive and it's reacting to any kind of allergens or irritants you put on your face, then it's just going to make your skin red, it's going to make it break out, and it's just not going to be helpful. So try cutting fragrance out. You can find loads of really cheap fragrance-free options such as CeraVe. The other thing is a lot of the acne tips and tricks and products are all designed for oily skin and combination skin. So if you're like me and you have dry, dehydrated skin, then these products are not going to necessarily work for you, and you need to focus on hydration, because I don't know for sure, but I personally think that one of the reasons I was breaking out so much is because I think my skin was just irritated. I think it was sensitive, irritated by the fragrance, irritated by the fact it was so dry and had no moisture, it had no hydration, nothing. So if you've been trying these kind of for oily skin products and you have acne prone skin and dry skin, try going for more hydrating products. At first it's going to feel really strange and it's going to feel kind of counterintuitive, but I genuinely think that making my skin more hydrated has helped so much. And my final tip would be to try and cut down your routine as much as humanly possible. That way you can isolate what is and isn't working for your skin. All you really need is a cleanser, maybe a treatment, a moisturizer, and an SPF in the mornings. And then once you know what your basic routine is, it's going to be very easy to add in new products because you'll be able to tell what your skin does and doesn't like. And in terms of the products I mentioned, I'm not saying that you need to go out and buy those specific products. I think for me, the focus has just been on hydrating fragrance-free products. And like I said at the start of the video, I still have texture on my skin, I still get a few spots, and I still have dark spots that I need to deal with. So my skin is by no means perfect, but compared to how it was a year ago, it's crazy. It has come such a long way. And if I knew all of these tips earlier on, then I probably would have saved myself a lot of money, a lot of hassle, and I wouldn't have been so stressed and so upset about my skin. Also, my skin just feels nicer. It doesn't feel as tight and gross as it used to. I still feel like I could get more hydration in there, but it's not terrible. It's not like the Sahara Desert. It's not all cracked and gross. Anyway, I feel like this video is already going to be super long, so I'm going to stop talking. I really hope this was helpful for you. Comment down below what your all-time favorite skincare tips are, and let me know if you've tried any of these products or made any of these, I say mistakes, but they were mistakes on my own skin. But let me know if you've done any of those mistakes on your own skin too, because I'd love to get a good conversation going in the comments. And I really, really hope that this helped someone. And even if it didn't, I hope you just enjoyed the video. And if you did, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more beauty, skincare and fashion related videos. It really does make my day when I see new subscribers subscribing to my channel. Anyway, I want to thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!